friendship that lasts 6 years is because I think what's missing in the public square is an ability to talk about really difficult issues, in particular Israel-Palestine. As somebody who's Palestinian, and I was born and raised here, but I've lived there, I have a huge family there, some of whom are experiencing absolutely atrocious realities right now. Palestinian perspective is never heard. It's rarely heard. I think, on your last segment about the hostage rescue, of course you have to be happy for hostages who are rescued, but 270 Palestinian civilians killed. There's a different value of life here, because imagine if those hostages were held in Tel Aviv or in New York. There's this reality that for Palestinians, it's like, well, you're human shields. That means you're legitimate human targets, and that's not fair. That's not right. So my objective is not simply to platform Palestinian perspectives. Rather, it's something larger than that. I don't think my story is the only story. Ari's story isn't the only story. If we want to deal with complex issues in the world, we have to be able to understand the multiplicity of deep truths that exist at the same time and be held accountable to the actual facts, the facts on the ground. So in teaching this course together, we're hoping to allow for a better, more robust debate about reality and not slogans in the public square.
So to that end, did your, because I believe you have a friendship, you're not just co-teaching for the last 6 years. So many people were shaken, family friendships broke up, just there was, everybody was in their own corners after October 7th and what's happened since. Did that affect your friendship?
I think it made it much deeper, actually. One of the components of our class that's so critical is we take an immersive trip. So it's not just talking about a multiplicity of perspectives. It's not Ari's story, my story, flattening everything out. It's holding it accountable to a shared set of facts and uncomfortable experiences. So Ari and I have actually grown quite a bit together over the years in being in places that have made us and our students quite uncomfortable. So after October 7th, we already had, he knows where I stand on a variety of issues. We're radically transparent with each other. We're not mean when we disagree, but it's important for us to speak proactively what we think about particular issues. And so I think our class after October 7th, strangely, in some way, while I was being quite active and will continue to be in the public square, I mean, this has to stop now, I think it provided a safe haven both for us and our students.
I think that is so, yes, Ari, go ahead. I was going to ask you, how also the students see you agreeing on some things, disagreeing on other things, particularly in this incredibly heightened environment.
So this idea of empathetic objectivity, of having, using your journalistic tools, but having empathy, is something that I use and I teach as a reporting tool. In other words, you should go out and you're talking to someone who has a different point of view, listen to them, try to get and understand the world from their perspective. I'll give an example. Even someone saying from the river to the sea, Palestine should be free, may sound innocuous to some people, but to other people, it is offensive and anti-Semitic. So you may not think it is, but try to understand the other perspective. And that's really what we've tried to do. And it started as a reporting tool. In other words, this is a great way to report, but we soon realized that it was a human relations tool, that we relate to each other and understand each other when we say, okay, what does this mean to you? And all too often people speak and they wait and then they speak again. What we're trying to teach our students is to speak, listen, and then speak again.
Yeah.
So, and take in their experience and try to reflect their humanity.
I love the fact that this is part of the journalism school, because many journalists in the United States and around are really struggling with how to do this right. So it's a very, very valuable course, I think, for young people who want to be journalists. I just want to ask you, because, you are on Columbia. We all know what happened on campus with the protests. You mentioned some of the slogans, Ari. And you say, Greg, that you're in the public square. How do you think the university handled the protest in the fullness of 2020 hindsight? Greg, how would you have done it differently? Did you agree with what happened?
No, I think the university made a number of failures and it's on a long and growing list. But I think 20 years from now, the story isn't going to be about the university's failures or the student protesters breaking a couple rules. Even 2 years from now, it's going to go back to the atrocious realities on the ground in Gaza. There is no good future for any Israeli or Palestinian without a good reality for every Palestinian and Israeli. And we are moving over the brink on the ground there. And as long as this continues to escalate out of control, this could have large regional implications. Things won't be calm on our campus right now. So I think the story with the protesters and the students, I think the administration will look very bad in hindsight. This didn't happen with the encampments, and the administration failed the university community, I think, for many months, even before October 7th. The students were saying long before October 7th, hey, we don't want our $14 billion in endowment to be invested in what they and most human rights organizations, including many Israeli organizations, see as apartheid. We don't want them profiting off of what many call an active genocide today. And I think, sadly, or not sadly, but they will be looked on as being on the right side of history, despite the very many problems that we saw on our campus, and sadly we'll see again.
And what sort of view do you have, Ari?
Okay, well, I disagree with the use of those words, apartheid, genocide. I feel that these are not fair accusations to make against the Jewish state. The Jewish state is far from perfect, but it's also not a genocidal state. I feel that we have to. But I also want to go to the campus before I talk about the facts of on the ground, and the campus. I am sympathetic to the administration of Columbia. Manoush Shafiq, the president, became president, I think, on October 4th, and then she had to face this on October 7th. She has addressed the problem of anti-Semitism on campus, and she's done some good things, even though I have trouble with the presence of police officers on the campus, especially initially.
Yeah,
But
let me ask.
I'll let Greg push back.
Yeah. I like the fact.